Hello everyone, today we are going to see about outlier analysis for accelerating clinical discovery. Myself Nitil, let's continue. Let us know about abstract. Clinical discoveries largely depend on dedicated clinicians and scientists to identify and pursue unique and unusual clinical encounters with patients and communicate these through case reports and case series. This process has remained essentially unchanged throughout the history of modern medicine. However, these traditional methods are inefficient, especially considering the modern day availability of health related data and sophistication and computer processing. Outlier analysis has been used in various fields to uncover unique observations, including fraud detection in finance and quality control in manufacturing. We propose that clinical discovery can be formulated as an outlier problem with an augmented intelligence framework to be implemented on health related data. This contains a 5 step various data. The first step is going to define a patient population with a desired clinical outcome. Second one is gonna be build a predictive model. Third one is gonna identify outliers through appropriate measures. Fourth one is investigate outliers through domain content experts and generate scientific hypotheses, recognizing that the field of obstetrics can be particularly benefit from this approach. As it is traditionally neglected in commercial research, we conducted a systematic review to explore how outliers analysis is implemented in obstetric research. We identified two obstetric related studies that can be accessed outliers to be aggregated level for purposes outside of clinical discovery. Our findings indicate that the using outlier analysis is clinical research in obstetrics and clinical research in general requires further development. Let us see about traditional methods of clinical discovery as you mentioned in the research. Historically, medical knowledge has advanced through clinical observation, often communicated through case reports and case reports. One is case reports and second one is case series published in medical journals. These methods have played a crucial role in identifying novel clinical observations, generating hypotheses, and acting as the first step in advancing clinical research. However, there can be an inefficient and misvaluable observation due to the time constraints of the clinical and at the uncertainty of the publication. The first one is Kawasaki disease, second one is Halatana virus pulmonary syndrome, third one is third is tannin therapy and rhabdomyolysis. Fourth one is disulfiram for alcoholism. These are the four types of diseases that are mentioned in the case series or case reports. Outlier analysis is a more efficient approach. As compared to the traditional approach, outlier analysis offers a more efficient and streamlined alternative for identifying unique or unusual clinical observations. It can be identify observations that deviate substantially from expected behavior, suggesting a distinct underlying mechanism. While other outliers are often considered statistical noise and excluded from analysis, distinguishing between noise and informative outliers can reveal valuable information. There are applications beyond medicine, medical applications potentially for clinical discovery. Outliers analysis is used to in various fields, including financial fraud detection, network connection, and malware detection and quality control in manufacturing processes. Medical applications in medicine, outlier analysis has been used for diagnosing the data quality assurance, medication error screening, and monitoring patient vital signs. The potential for clinical discovery. The authors propose that clinical discovery can be formulated as an outlier problem with an augmented intelligence framework. Defining outliers, there are majorly defining outliers based on root cause, type, and measure. These are the characteristics based on this, and categories are error, fault, natural deviation, novelty, point outlier, collective outlier, contextual outlier, distance, probability, information. The clinical example of each particular category and characteristic are entry of an additional digit in the weight field in a patient's electronic record. Second one is contagious heart failure causing shortness of the breath in patient. These are the main figured it out in the pie chart diagram, which is more visual as compared to the theoretical. Like in this, mentioned in the different outlier types: root cause, measure, type, and measure. The type consists of the contextual, collective, and point. The measure consists of distance, probability, information, and root cause consists of error, fault, natural, novelty. Like these are the mentioned in the this defining outliers. An outlier is nothing but it's an observation that deviates so much from the observations that it arouses suspicion that it was generated by a different mechanism. Clinical discovery as a contextual outlier. The authors propose that clinical discovery can be viewed as a contextual outlier measured through an information based approach and with a novelty based root cause. This means this means a clinical discovery of is an unusual observation that deviates from the expected behavior within a specific clinical context, and its root cause is a novel and previously unknown mechanism. The first one is novelty based, second one is contextual, third one is information based, and fourth one is unsupervised. The outlier must be generated through a mechanism that is not accounted for in the normal or expected behavior Outcome or model. A contextual means a clinical discovery requires specific conditions for it to be detected as such, and in the absence of such condition, the clinical discovery observation is likely to be missed. Information based and information based method that reflects the human based approach to clinical discovery, where an unusual clinical observation cannot be compliant with the learned model of the condition. Fourth one is unsupervised. This is a bit separated from the traditional methods as unsupervised learning model. You all know clinical discovery typically lacks labeled observations, making unsupervised outlier analysis methods the most suitable approach. The systematic review that I mentioned in there are contains four strategies. First is search strategy, study selection, data extraction, quality assessment. These are the four different types of categories which are used in the related model as compared to the traditional model. The authors conducted a systematic review to explore the different use of the outlier analysis in obstetrics research. The search three bibliographic databases, MPS, Medline, and Web of Science. First studies that included a population of pregnant women and utilized an outlier analysis method to identify unusual observations. Two such studies were developed covering controlled vocabulary and keywords to related to obstetrics and outlier analysis methods. Study selection studies had to be included a population of pregnant women and utilize an outlier analysis method that aimed to identify unusual observations rather than to remove the permanent statistical noise. Data extraction is nothing but data relevant to study characteristics, population characteristics, intervention, exposure, outcomes measure, and outlier detection is a method for extracted. Quality assessment considers the CHARMS checklist was used to access the quality of studies that include a predictive component. A new framework for clinical discovery. The authors have proposed 5 steps from that I already mentioned in the abstract in the second slide of the presentation. Defining a patient population and clinical outcome. Second step is building a predictive model. This helps to establish a baseline for normal behavior. Third one is identifying outliers. By comparing new data against the model, researchers can identify outliers like the data points, data segments which is not belong to the mixed combined group. They are such as outside of the data which is not that much useful. There are outliers, that is called outliers. Investigating outliers, experts analyze these outliers to determine whether their significance is genetic hypothesis. Outliers can represent genuine discoveries, can lead to new research questions for the studies. These are the two systematic review which are considered to be helpful against this review. First one is Anatoly at 2013, Khan at 2017, which is basically outliers, point outliers and point outliers. These main objectives of the Anatoly first research is detect clinical practice anomalies in health related databases. And second one objective is to identify special outliers of teenage birth rate in US countries. The author discusses the limitations of traditional hypothesis-driven methods in clinical research and highlight the potential of the data-driven discovery approaches such as outlier analysis to accelerate the rate of the clinical discoveries. They argue that outlier analysis can be used to identify unusual clinical observations that may represent novel findings, and that the approach can be more efficient and less biased compared to the traditional methods. Augmented intelligence, obstetric research, limitations of the systematic review, future directions. These are the four main we are talking about. First one is augmented intelligence. The authors propose that outlier analysis can be integrated into an augmented intelligence framework where machine learning and statistical learning models enhance human capabilities and decision making. Obstetric research. The authors emphasize the potential of outlier analysis to accelerate clinical discoveries in obstetrics, a field that has been traditionally neglected by a pharmaceutical industry. Limitations of systematic review. The authors acknowledge the limitations of the systematic review, including the restriction of the search strategy to the English language and the lack of the standardized definitions and quality assessment tools for outlier analysis studies. Future direction. The authors suggest that future research is needed to develop and refine methods for applying outlier analysis, obstetric research, and explore potential of the approach for other areas of clinical discovery. Conclusion. Authors conclude that outlier analysis can be valuable tool for accelerating clinical discovery, particularly in areas like obstetrics that have been traditionally under research. They emphasize the need for further development and refinement of the outlier analysis methods and advocate for integration of this approach into an augmented intelligence framework to enhance human capabilities and accelerate the pace of medical progress. As the reference link I have given in the last slide, I also mentioned in the description box where you can go and refer the original article or review which may be helpful. Thank you.